we're going to look at some of what took place between the first apparition and the second apparition. Some Catholics have read all of the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima, but not as many are aware of how God guided the children in between the two. And so we're going to look right now at between the first and the second apparition. June the 13th was approaching, the important day when the Lady from Heaven was to appear a second time. The news of the apparition had spread all through the countryside. Everyone had his own idea on the matter. Some believed, most did not. In fact, both the children and their parents were ridiculed by their neighbors. The parents were called simple-minded, unfit to bring up children, or else too timid to punish them as they deserved. "I wish you were my daughter," one man said, twisting his stocking hat in his hands. A good thrashing would soon put an end to their visions. Another said, swinging his staff. Even the other children jeered and scoffed when Lucia and her cousins passed them. Meanwhile, Lucia's mother, in her good faith, went to consult with the village pastor, the Reverend Manuel Marquez Ferreira. After hearing the mother's version, he suggested that the children be allowed to return to the Cova de Iria on the following 13th, and that they be brought to him afterwards. He would interrogate them individually. Going home, Senora dos Santos met Timarta and told him of the pastor's advice. He thought it wise to go and talk it over with the pastor also. When he reached the rectory and was taken into the house, he said, "Senor Prior, my sister-in-law has just told me that you want me to come here with the children after the next apparition, one at a time. I have come now to find out the best thing for us to do." "What a mess this is," the pastor remarked. "Sometimes it is white, sometimes it is black." "But Reverend Father, you seem more ready to believe lies than facts," Timarto answered calmly. "So far I have never had to listen to anything of this sort," the pastor countered, noticeably vexed by the whole affair. "Everybody knows things before me. If you want to bring the children to me, do it. If not, don't bring them." "Senor Prior, I have come with nothing but the best intentions in mind." Timarto then got up to leave, but as he descended the stairs of the veranda, he could still hear the pastor repeating, "Timarto, I leave it to you. If you want to bring them, do it. If not, don't bring them." "Good Father, I have come only to find out what is best for us to do, not to cause any trouble." Among those few who did believe, there is one who deserves special mention, Senora Maria Carrera. Later, she came to be known as Maria da Capellina, Maria of the Little Chapel. In her room in the hospital at the Shrine of Fatima, she told the author all she knew about the great happenings at the Cova de Iria, of which she had been a witness almost from the very beginning. "I'd always been sick," she said, "and those 7 years before the apparitions, the doctors gave me up completely. They said I had only a short time to live." 2 or 3 days before the first apparition, Senora Carrera's husband had been working with Lucia's father, and Antonio dos Santos told him about his daughter. That night, Senor Manuel Carrera said to Maria, his wife, "My dear, Antonio dos Santos told me that Our Lady appeared to one of the girls, the youngest one, and to 2 of the children of his sister, the one married to Timarto. Our Lady spoke to them and promised to return there every month through October." Maria da Capellina's curiosity was aroused. "I'm going to find out if this is true. If it is, I want to go there. Where is the Cova de Iria?" Her husband told her, and although it was only a 10-minute walk from their house, she had never gone there before. Senor Carrera tried to discourage her from going. "You must be a fool. Do you think you too will see Our Lady?" "I know I won't see her, but if we heard that the king was going there, we wouldn't stay at home. If they said that Our Lady is coming, why shouldn't I go and at least try to see her?" Later, this lady was to be a great comfort to the little children through her kind understanding and helpful assistance. The great feast of St. Anthony was approaching. Excitement rode high in the parish. Everyone, old and young, was preparing for the celebration of the feast, which also fell on the 13th. While the bells rang, ox carts trimmed with branches, flowers, flags, and draperies, and laden with 500 bread rolls would be led around the church a few times before stopping under the pastor's balcony for the blessing of the gifts. Maria Rosa knew how her youngest daughter liked celebrations, and she hoped this festival would help her forget about the Cova de Iria. "How good that tomorrow is our feast day," she said to her daughters. "You will be talking of nothing but the feast. We ourselves are to blame," always reminding Lucia of the Cova. The family tried to avoid the problem of the apparition. When Lucia did bring it up, they changed the subject to divert her mind and make her forget her plans. Lucia took this for disdain and contempt on her family's part. She felt they had abandoned her. Lonely and sorrowful, she became very quiet, but every once in a while she blurted out, "Tomorrow I am going to the Cova de Iria. It is what the lady wants." In spite of the pastor's advice to allow the children to go to the Cova on the 13th of June, both mothers wished to prevent their going. Jacinta wished so very much to share with her mother the joy of the vision, but her mother would not believe it all. Overcome with enthusiasm for the cause of Our Lady, Jacinta pleaded, "Mama, come with us tomorrow to see Our Lady." "Our Lady? What do you mean, silly little girl? No, tomorrow we go to the feast. Don't you want to get your roll? Besides, there is the band, the rockets, and a special sermon." The mother thought the mention of the band, because Jacinta loved very much music, and the rolls would surely make the child forget about the Cova. Little did she realize that music and food no longer attracted her child. For a month now, the little children had given up singing and dancing, even their lunches for the conversion of sinners. "But Mother, Our Lady does appear at the Cova de Iria." "Our Lady does not appear to you, so it is useless to go there," Senora Marta contradicted her child. "Oh, but she does. Our Lady said that she would appear, and she will," Jacinta rejoined. "Don't you want to go to the feast?" Senora Marta tried to change the subject. "St. Anthony is not beautiful." "Why?" "Because the Lady is more, much more beautiful. I am going to the Cova de Iria. If the Lady tells us to go to the feast of St. Anthony, then we'll go." Jacinta's father, T. Marta, was in the same predicament. He didn't know what to do on the feast day. Should he go to the Cova? But what if nothing appeared? It didn't seem right that he should go to the celebration at the church and let the children go alone to the Cova. Finally, he decided, since it was market day in Pedrera, he would go there instead, buy the oxen he wanted, and when he returned, everything would have been settled. Yes, that's it. He would go to the market. That would save him from committing himself. He went to sleep in peace. As soon as Jacinta awakened in the morning, she ran into her mother's room to invite her again to come to see the Lady. But her mother's room was empty, and Jacinta was sorely disappointed. "Mother will not see Our Lady today," she said. Then she thought to herself, "But at least now we can go in peace." She awakened Francisco, and while he dressed, she let out the sheep. As soon as Francisco was ready, they hurried away to meet Lucia, nibbling on some bread and cheese as they went. Lucia was already waiting for them at the barrero. So bitter did she feel at the lack of understanding and the cruel opposition of her mother and sisters that she was impatient to be alone with her cousins. Only with them did she feel joyful and happy. They alone understood and believed in her, as she understood and believed in them. In her memoirs, she writes, "I recalled the times that were past, and I asked myself, where was the affection which my family had for me only a short while ago?" But the Lady was coming. They had no time to lose. They must make sure to be at the Cova on time. "Today, let's go to Valinos," Lucia decided. "There is plenty of grass there, and the sheep will get through fast. Then we can go home and put on our best clothes. I won't wait for you because I want to go to Fatima to talk with some of the girls who made their first communion with me." Later, when Lucia's mother saw her child getting all dressed up, she rubbed her hands with satisfaction at the thought that St. Anthony had answered her prayer, that Lucia might forget the whole thing. They watched to see where Lucia was going, to Fatima or the Cova de Iria. If Lucia went to the Cova, her mother decided that she had better follow her. She would hide herself so that she could watch what went on and see if the girl was lying. Also, she wanted to be there lest anyone try to harm the children. She wasn't going to let anyone hurt her Lucia, nor would she allow Lucia to fall into the bad habit of lying. All worried and excited, she decided she had better go to the church first. On the way, she met some strangers who, she presumed, were going to attend the feast. She called to them, "Look here, you're going the wrong way. That's not the way to Fatima. We just came from Fatima. We're going to see the children who saw Our Lady." "Where are you from?" she inquired. "From Carrascos." "Where are the children?" "They're in Aljustrel, but they'll soon be coming to the feast." Meanwhile, Lucia found her way to the church, saw her first communion friends, and invited them to come to the Cova de Iria with her. Usually, whenever Lucia suggested something, her friends concurred, so altogether 14 girls agreed to go along. While they were walking toward the Cova de Iria, Lucia's brother Antonio tried to stop them. He even offered a bribe of a few pennies. "I don't care for your pennies," Lucia cried out. All I want is to go to the Cova de Iria. He followed the girls for a while, urging them to come back, but soon gave up the attempt. The 14 girls were not alone at the Cova. A few people had joined them on the way, and when they reached the place where the gate to the shrine is now situated, they were met by a small group of women, among whom were Maria de Capellina and her crippled 17-year-old son. Senora de Capellina describes the happenings of that eventful day. Being determined to go to the Cova on the 13th, I said to my daughters the evening before, "Why don't we go to the Cova tomorrow instead of to the feast of St. Anthony?" "To the Cova de Iria? What for? We would rather go to the feast," they responded. Turning to my crippled son, I said, "And how about you? Do you want to go to the feast or will you go with me?" "I'll go with you, Mother." The next day, even before the others had left for the feast, I came here to the Cova de Iria with my son John, who had to use a staff to get along. There wasn't a soul around, so we went back to the road which we knew the children would take and sat down. After a while, a woman came along from Loreda. She was very surprised to see me there, for she knew I was sick and had been confined to my bed. "What are you here for?" she asked. "For the same reason that you came here," I replied. Without another word, she sat down beside me. Then a man came along from Lomba da Egua, and we exchanged about the same words. Then a few women from Boleros came along. I asked them if they were running away from the feast. One woman answered, "Some people made fun of us, but who cares? We want to see what happens here and find out whether it is they or we who should be made fun of." Still others, some from as far away as Torres Novas, and around 11 o'clock, the children arrived. We followed them until we stopped near a little holm oak tree. I asked Lucia, "Little girl, where is the holm oak over which Our Lady appears?" "See here? It was here that she stood," replied Lucia. It was a small tree, about 3 feet high, being at the peak of its growth with straight, beautiful branches. Lucia withdrew herself a little, turned towards Fatima, then walked over to a large holm oak and sat down against the trunk to get in the shade. The day was very hot. Francisco and Jacinta sat at her side. While eating lupini, they talked and amused themselves with the other children. But as time went by, Lucia became more and more serious and apprehensive. Soon she said to Jacinta, who was still playing, "Quiet, Our Lady is coming." It was near noon. Maria de Capellina was feeling weak. "Will it be long before Our Lady comes?" she asked. "No, Senora," Lucia unhesitatingly responded. They all began the rosary, and as they finished, one girl began the litany. But Lucia stopped her. "There's no time for it now." Then she got up and shouted, "Jacinta, Jacinta, here comes Our Lady. I just saw the flash." The three of them ran over to the smaller holm oak. Everyone followed and knelt upon the brush and furs. Lucia raised her eyes towards the skies as if in prayer, and was heard to say, "You told me to come here today. What do you want me to do?" The others heard something that sounded like a very gentle voice, but did not understand what was said. "It is like the gentle humming of a bee," Maria de Capellina whispered. Lucia in later years tells us as follows. So this is what Our Lady responded to the children. "I want you to come here on the 13th of the next month. Say the rosary, inserting between the mysteries the following ejaculation. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins. Save us from the fires of hell. Lead all souls to heaven, especially those most in need. I want you to learn to read and write, and later I will tell you what else I want." Then Lucia asked Our Lady to cure a sick person who was recommended to her. Our Lady answered, "If he is converted, he will be cured within the year." Lucia said, "I would like to ask you also to take us to heaven." "Yes," Our Lady answered, "I will take Jacinta and Francisco soon. You, however, are to stay here a longer time. Jesus wants to use you to make me known and loved. He wants to establish the devotion to my Immaculate Heart in the world. I promise salvation to those who embrace it, and their souls will be loved by God as flowers placed by myself to adorn His throne." "Am I going to stay here alone?" Lucia asked, full of sadness at the thought of losing her beloved cousins. "No, my daughter." Lucia's eyes filled with tears. "Does this cause you to suffer a great deal?" Our Lady said. "I will never leave you. My Immaculate Heart will be your refuge and the way that will lead you to God. As she said these last words, Lucia tells, the Blessed Virgin opened her hands and communicated to us for the second time the reflection of the immense light that enveloped her. We saw ourselves in it, as if submerged in God. Jacinta and Francisco seemed to be on the side that was ascending to heaven, and I was on the side that was spreading over the earth. There was a heart before the palm of the right hand of Our Lady, with thorns piercing it. We understood that this was the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so offended by the sins of mankind, desiring reparation. The crowd now saw Lucia rise quickly to her feet. Stretching out her arms, she cried, "Look, there she goes, there she goes." Maria da Capellina reports that when Our Lady left the tree, it was like the hissing of a distant rocket. She continues, "As for us, we saw nothing but a slight cloud, just a few inches from the foliage, rising slowly towards the east." The children remained silent, their eyes fastened in that direction, until a few minutes later Lucia cried out, "There now, it's all over. She has entered heaven. The doors have closed."